Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome, dear viewers, to a new edition of your program, Restore Hope. Saudi Arabia's diplomacy has succeeded in assuming its leading role and passed the Arab draft resolution which avoided internationalization of Yemen investigations. In this regard, I would like to welcome our dear guests, Dr. Hamdan Shihri, who joins me here in the studio. Dr. Hamdan, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Osama Mu'in, investment and economic consultant. Mr. Osama, welcome to the program.
Welcome, and thank you very much for your invitation.
You're welcome. Dr. Hamdan, your perception of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's efforts in this regard when it comes to actually succeeding in assuming the leading role of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in persuading and also convincing Netherlands and other European countries to withdraw a project and adopt a new one pertaining to the Arab draft resolution, which avoided internationalization of Yemen investigations.
Well, as you know, this is the Yemeni issue, or the Yemeni crisis is, we can say it's now, it's a Saudi issue. This, as you know, Saudi Arabia, they got the resolution 2216 before from Security Council, United Nations Security Council, and also now we're still in that. I mean, that Saudi Arabia is taking care of Yemen. Saudi Arabia is not now restoring, as we said, hope. Saudi Arabia is what's doing with the coalition want to restore also the legitimacy. So if we explain that, that's mean helping the people of Yemen, helping the government of Yemen, and attacking normally. We're talking about those Houthi or who's their allies. That's mean that Saudi Arabia is looking for gaining the war or gaining the battle, not destroying the infrastructure or civilian. Why? Because this is not a war really. This is restoring hope, as we said from the beginning, and also restore the legitimacy. Besides that, Saudi Arabia is committed
the objectives are crystal clear from the very beginning.
I mean, the international law that how with this restoring this hope or this war against Houthi and their allies. So Saudi Arabia again, they could persuade also the United Nations. We're talking about now Human Rights Council to adopt the Saudi or draft or the Arab draft that's make this investigation for that. This is something sometimes you find some states or some organization, they talk about the results, and Houthi is now using that, talking about the civilian, let's say, civilians, or if you call it the civilian, government. And who caused all of that? As we know, behind that Al-Houthi and his occupation of Sana'a and all the Yemen. Why? Because before that, the Yemen, it was a state, happened, a revolution, but it was stable. And they were about to make another government and elect another government, but Houthi didn't give any chance for the people, Yemeni people, or to, this government for the future to be formed. So what's doing Al-Houthi now? He is those countries who's coming or talking about those drafts like Netherlands drafts or other drafts, or when hear them talking about the Yemeni crisis, they talk about all time about the civilian. Good, we understand that, and this is but why you talk about the result? Why you don't talk about the cause? So you are going to deal with the result. You mean stopping the war, and stopping that, this is will give Al-Houthi more chance to stay. Is he going to withdraw from Sana'a? Is he going to hand over the weapons? If he is going to do that, of course, if it's accepted to, stop all of this, strikes against Al-Houthi. But if he is not going to stop it, he will stay in Sana'a. He is going to occupy more. He is going to threat even, inside Saudi Arabia and its border. This is, I think, something. It's not looking for the whole issue, just looking for one of it, and this is will make a problem against the Yemeni crisis and its solution, because its solution has to deal with the problem from with the disease from the beginning, with this occupation. This is the problem, so that we wanted, and Saudi Arabia again could send this message to the United Nations and be able to convince them, because it's not easy to convince a big countries and more than one country, and telling them what's doing there in Yemen. It's not really a war, it's just a strikes against of those Houthi groups and their allies from Ali Saleh or other who is fighting with them. So this is something that we can loud our situation, or we can praise that Saudi Arabia is still doing, or still be able to convince the world, because because this we have seen many organizations and states against that, and they want to stop that, and they don't have any solution. What the solution? Just to stop the war and benefit of Al-Houthi. Al-Houthi is going to occupy, he is going to still the killing, he's still the kidnapping as kids, and recruit them in their sides, and he is going to consume everything, and also don't forget all of this aids. It was to the human people, it is stolen by Al-Houthi
and hindered
all time. Everything that Saudi Arabia or other organization is providing or trying to help those Yemeni people, all time the Houthi, they are in the middle, they are stealing that, they are preventing this all of this aids that to reach to those people or poor people. If you see or compare Aden, for example, with other like Taz or other places, you can find there is a big difference. Why? Because it's easy to reach all of this aids to help the Yemeni people away of the Al-Houthi control or their hands. So I think the problem, if they want those states or organization, and they have any drafts, should be with the resolution 2216 to ask Al-Houthi and their groups to hand over all of the weapons, to withdraw from Sana'a and accept the political solution. Without that, I think just we are wasting time, and we are not helping the Yemeni people. This will give the occupation more years. If this is strikes, I call it strikes. Why? Because it's not a war, a real war, like if you compare it with another intervention, and in the region, many interventions in the region killed many civilians, thousands, hundreds of thousands, and a million of displacement, and that we haven't seen it, and inshallah we'll not see it in Yemen. But if we want to be talk about that, we have to think and compare what's happening inside Yemen. Yeah.
Excellent. I will go to Mr. Osama Mu'in. Mr. Osama, as Dr. Hamdan al-Shahri suggested, that we'd better, and the European countries and the UN Human Rights Council is better to focus and concentrate on the causes behind having casualties and civilian casualties. First of all, your comment on the draft suggestion and resolution submitted by Netherlands.
Well, thank you for again for the invitation, and I'm happy to be also with Dr. Hamdan al-Shahri.
You're welcome.
Let's start it with a comment here. Any war is not only one kind of a war, which is a military war. War is divided into two: military and diplomatic. Military war consists of the artilleries, the weapons, the bullets, and all of these things. And the diplomatic war also consists of many other things, and they go together. In the field here, and you know that Yemen is a strategic country for Saudi Arabia and for the GCC, and it's the depth of our countries. And there is something coming from outside Yemen to start or to create problems in our area, and that's why we have to stop this aggression. And of course, the Houthis or the Ali Abdullah Saleh soldiers, they know exactly that they cannot at all win this war. And they know also that the Yemeni people wants to have to continue the unity between the north and south. They want to continue the development in their country, and they cannot continue with those two people. And you know, since Ali Abdullah Saleh became the president, he was trying to separate both areas, and he was everybody knows that Ali Abdullah Saleh played a very dirty role between north and south, and now the Houthis came to continue with him this role. Now, as they know that they cannot win the war and win any kind of military war, they have to go also for the other side of the war, which is the diplomatic, which consists of also the human rights. They will show some pictures of children tortured or killed or whatever. They go with the heavy weapons to the United Nations or to other countries to support them, as they know that they might also help in stopping or winning the war from this side. Of course,
But
we have
misleading the international community.
We have to be prepared for such actions. This is something normal, and we know exactly that they have started all of this, and they have made it with their aggression, and they are blaming others for doing that. And that's why they went to Holland and went to other countries, to UN, to the human rights or whatever, saying that the GCC is playing this dirty role in our country. Now we have to show the real story behind all of this, which we have not been into such kind of war against civilians or against buildings or whatever. They started it, they have done it. Everybody knows that their army or the Houthi army is not a well-trained army to go into a real fight, so they can throw any bomb anywhere. That's why with the evidences Saudi Arabia has that we have not been involved in such actions, we have to stop Holland or other countries from being blind on such issues, and to show the world that this is not our problem, this is not what we have been done. We are in our area and we are preventing such kind of militia to break this area. And this was another successful win in the other side of the war that Saudi Arabia made alongside with the GCC alliances.
Excellent, excellent. Back to you, Dr. Hamdan. We have, for example, France, following the draft resolution submitted by Netherlands. France called on to actually unify the efforts and stances when it comes to the mechanisms of achieving investigation. And also, we have, for example, Britain, the United States, that called for also having identical views when it comes to the draft resolution and any kind of resolution when it comes to Yemen.
Well, who understand well the situation in Yemen can understand this operation of Saudi operation. I call it because, as we mentioned, this is a military action. It's not more than, it's not a war, a real war. Why? Because what Saudi Arabia and the Arabic coalition is looking for, just to let Houthi to accept, and come back to the table of negotiation, and to hand over these weapons, because Al Houthi is not more, more than a militia, and the militia we have said it many times shouldn't have, any weapons. I mean, if they want to be a party or play the role, a political role in Yemen. What they have done, it was a coup, and I can call it, it's not a normal coup, it's an occupation for Yemen. Why? Because al-Houthi is one of those Iranian arms in Yemen. What he's doing now, just he is occupying Yemen, he is changing the face of Yemen, he is changing even the approach and the schools and everything, and he wants the people to study, what is Khomeini saying, not what's the normal that all students on the Yemeni were studying for all the years. So what's he looking for? Houthi, he wants to control whole the Yemen and change the Yemeni to be Iranian. I'm not gonna wondering if I will not wonder if they are going to teach even if in the future the students Persian language. Why? Because they are in the same way or the steps of the Iranian. And by the way, I heard that now in Syria they teach that the Persian language. They began that. So what I mean, Houthi now his with this ideology could not accept come back to negotiation. They are not more than 3% of the whole people of the Yemen, and they don't want to play the role, as you said, to find a solution. I mean, to find a political solution. They don't want to represent them any member, being member of them in the parliament. What they're looking for, occupying or take hold the control. Look for even their ally Ali Saleh. Now he's now you can say like a hostage, or he's a way of taking any or making any decision. Even their followers every day they've been insulting, they're being killed, and many happens to them. Even today the Minister of Health, they were changed by force.
He cannot respond to them.
Really, I see now he lost his cards. He was in the past he thought he can play this this game with them, but Houthi and their followers, they are as I told you, all of them, they got all the weapons and they got all the security, I mean, position, and they got control for everything, and that made them to be able to take control. I don't think Ali Saleh be able now to play or to do anything against them. Well, maybe he can call his followers, and this is maybe can making a separation and whatever, making something different in Yemen, but he cannot take control again on Yemen. Now he's looking just to find a way to get out of Yemen, or to be in safe away of the Houthi threat. This is something. Why? Because when we see his followers to be insulted every day, that's, you can understand this Ali Saleh now he's a way of that. Well, this is big question. Where is their followers? Where is the Yemeni to struggle to tell those people where we cannot accept you, because they are losing their identity, they are losing everything in Yemen with Houthi. Why they let Houthi to take control and doing all of that? This is something big question. Why? Because they are finding now a support from Arabic coalition. So in Aden we could see accomplishment changing there, but still we cannot see it so far in Sana'a or in Ta'az or other areas. Well, the reasons, many reasons for that. I cannot say one reason, but what I mean, they have now, the Houthi now, they discovered Houthi game, they discovered everything. So I think the reaction now should be from inside of Sana'a, should be from inside the tribes against those people, because as you know, the Yemeni, most of them, they have weapons and they have to defend on themselves, or they will be in the future. And this, suppose for example this Arabic coalition, they wouldn't have done all of this support for them, what they have done, or did they going to accept all of that? Well, to surrender for Houthi? This is something many questions you have to ask. So this is, I think, should the Arabic coalition to make a connections or communication with those tribes to to turn the table on the Houthi, because the Houthi, if he is going to take control, hold the Yemen, is gonna be a big problem for the Yemenis and for their neighbors. I'm talking about the Arabic coalition, or you're talking our lands or countries, Saudi Arabia and other countries, because those people, they are a militia, they came just to kill. They are serving, Khamenei, and they are ready to fight till the last man of them. So with them, you cannot find, a solution. This is what we have said before. For many of Western friends and Western, people, when you find them talking about the Yemeni crisis, you tell them this is the problem of Houthi. This is ideology. You cannot talk to them. They don't talk about politics. They are just obeying or they are doing what Khamenei is saying for them. So they are going to fight. They will not find. They are not looking, for a solution. They want to be, like Hezbollah in Lebanon. So they want to play this role. They want to with their weapons forever and just being, they take control of controlling the Yemeni and making, threat against.
To have a copy of Hezbollah in Yemen.
Of course, this is what they are looking for, and all of that they want to go till they think the Arabic coalition one day is going to accept them, like to be at least like Hezbollah there and with their weapons. But this is, of course, is going to be impossible, because even Hezbollah, I think there is going to be, any action against this. Well, it's not a party, it's a militia, terrorist militia. Why? Because, those militias or those with the weapons, they, they pose a threat against any state and will not be instability, and the terror will not finish if we don't dismantle all of those militias or terrorist militias and came back everything in the hand of the government. Without that, will be difficult to find a solution for the Yemeni. So, as you said, Mr. Zain, from the beginning, those countries, they understand what's happening inside Yemen, and the Saudi diplomacy with Arabic, countries, and of course our, brothers and GCC countries, they are all time talking to those, to the to the United Nations and Security Council about that, and explaining all of that, and trying to find a solution. Because without the Saudi role, what on that